Then after dinner, you need some dessert. Ice cream. Woohoo! We all love it. And during this National Ice Cream Month, we are learning about a pretty cool connection that St. Louis has to the history of ice cream.
Very nice.
It's a new day, nothing in a way. This is the start of something big.
Friends, we are halfway through National Ice Cream Month. Here is a sweet deed about the sweet treat. Ice cream has a pretty strong connection to St. Louis. We're happy to have our resident historian joining us today to tell us all about it and, you know, eat some ice cream. That's next. This is exactly the segment I need right now. July is National Ice Cream Month, so during the heat of summer, of course, let's take a look, shall we, at the cool history of ice cream, from its origins to our own local connection to the sweet treat, too. Here to help us with that is celebrity historian who always comes up with the most fascinating stuff, Raffi Andonian. Raffi, how are you, man?
Good, thanks for having me.
We were talking during the break. I know, thank you for this. This is all I need. I'm in a happy place now. Talking during the break about your answer to this first question, I'm going to be very intrigued by this. Who invented ice cream? Because I feel like it's been around.
It's been around for thousands of years,
okay.
Absolutely. And there's a story that goes that it came from China with Marco Polo to Italy, and then Jefferson brought it from France for Europe to the United States. That's a very neat story, and there's kind of, you know, elements of truth in the sense that all these places had ice cream,
right.
But it's not really the case. You know, origin stories are usually more complicated. So ancient Rome, ancient Greece, ancient Mesopotamia, all of them were doing versions of ice treats, even separate of China, which was doing it as well, in addition. And the Islamic world was doing it too. Persia and Turkey were doing it. Actually, sherbet is a word that comes from a Turkish word in English. That's right.
Fascinating.
And so, you know, they discovered how you can use salt to reduce the freezing point of ice to get the ice cream. So all these components are going on at the same time, and eventually, with the European colonists, it comes over from the, you know, Europe over to, of course, the Americas.
The Western frontier. Let's pick up the story there then while I dig in, by the way, because, you know, it's
no,
the least I can do for Caesar.
That's right. Now, that's the black walnut ice cream.
Ooh.
And I also got over here the gooey butter cake and s'mores. I wanted to get a local twist. Gooey butter cake, of course, being local, and s'mores being very summery.
It would be rude not to try them all while you explain how ice cream got popular then in the United States.
That's right. So what happened in the United States is a couple of things. One, that's right, really good.
Really good.
But what happened is George Washington had an ice cream maker at Mount Vernon where he lived.
Seriously?
Absolutely. They even served it in Maryland. It was adjacent to his state, of course, in Virginia, to the First Lady. But the biggest person responsible for popularizing the U.S. is Thomas Jefferson. He had only 10 recipes that he wrote down. One of them was ice cream. He got it from when he was in France as a diplomat from the United States there, came back, served it in the White House later when he was president. There's multiple accounts of him serving in the White House. Of course, he was president in the early 19th century, and then over the course of the 19th century, it became extremely popular. The sundae came out, the milkshake came out as a health food.
As a health food.
Innovation of ice cream.
I missed the 1800s.
That's right, that's right, and throughout the Midwest especially.
So then, what about the St. Louis connection?
Well, speaking of the Midwest, right here in St. Louis, so that hotbed of innovation continues into the 19th and early 20th century. Now, one of the stories you hear in St. Louis, of course, is the ice cream cone. It did not originate here, although it was popularized in part with the St. Louis World's Fair. What I think is more interesting, and we can certainly verify, is a world record that St. Louis set in 1981 record books. Now, it started in 1979. Massachusetts had set a record for the largest ice cream sundae, more than 8,000 pound sundae, believe it or not. So St. Louis, with his ice cream tradition, and in the Midwest said, no, we can't have that. So they set out, and they spent an entire summer led by his sculptor, because the ice cream was so big, 100 students training, and they eventually got the record. 9,616 pounds is the St. Louis world record for the biggest sundae. Now, eventually that got broken too, but we had the record for a couple of years.
That's darn right. Another great St. Louis connection. Ralphie, thank you so much.
Thank you.
By the way, I switched over to the s'mores while nobody was looking. Also fantastic.
And these are local ice creams.
I love it.
Cafe de Blair and Bella's.
Both downtown.
That's right.
We're going to post this segment at KMOV.com/greatday following the show, guys.
Bella's is one of my favorite. Good stuff.
Really? I know. Fascinating, isn't it?
It is. And two things, we still love our clementines too. In addition to those, they get a lot of love on Great Day. But can you imagine being back in those days at the White House and having someone I mean, there's no air conditioning yet, maybe not even electricity, and somebody comes out with this ice cream thing. It's just like got to be a luxury beyond words back then, right?
You were living large if you got ice cream in the 1800s, baby. That's right.
Thanks, guys.